What's going on, guys? MakerMods here, back at it again with another new Switch review. Today we're taking a look at the Chosfox Voyager Switch. It's a long pole tactile that might just be the new tactile clack king, so let's get started. First, who is Chosfox? They're a company based out of Shenzhen, China. Their About Us page uses the magic words for any true enthusiasts, the dreaded rabbit hole. Starting in 2021, they're a pretty new vendor to the mechanical keyboard scene, but they have a lot of interesting Switch offerings and I'm excited to try them out. They also have a pretty active Discord server, and I've been hanging out in there for about a week now, and I've seen a lot of passionate keyboard enthusiasts, so I'd recommend you at least check it out. Getting back to the Voyager, it was made in collaboration with JWK, and it's a long pole tactile with the typical JWK recipe: PC top, nylon bottom, palm stem. Where this Switch shines in comparison to all the other JWK tactiles I've tried is the complete absence of leaf noise and stem scratch. One thing to note before we get to the stock sound test, I picked up a new sound test board, the AIO3 Polaris. It's a gasket mounted 60% board with a JL Laboratories hot swap PCB and a 1.2mm TX stabs. I'm running this sound test with a polycarbonate plate, but let me know in the comments below if you want to hear typing tests with different plate materials, as I do have palm, alu, and FR4 on hand. Here's the stock sound test with my thoughts on the typing experience on the screen. Overall, I think these switches are perfectly acceptable stock. They're very smooth with no spring or leaf noise like I mentioned before. On a side note, I'm really glad that newer vendors like Chosfox and Keepfront, among others, are releasing custom switches that are ready to go right out of the box. It really elevates the hobby and it makes it a lot more beginner and budget friendly when you don't have to spend extra time and money lubing and filming switches. Here are some single switch sound test comparisons with some other popular tactile switches. The Voyager feels like it has the shortest overall travel out of all of the Switches, and it was interesting to compare it to the Zyko. It has even less post-travel than the Zykos do, and the sound signature was definitely the most refined to me out of the box. What I mean by that is a lot of Switches tend to have like a lot of transient extra sounds in there, whether it's rattling or scratchiness, and it's a lot more noticeable when you have the loose Switch in hand. When you compare that to some of the other Switches, a Boba U4T for example, this is the AZURE Dragon. The only way I can describe it is it has a very clean sound. It means that there's less requirements for lubing and filming. One Switch I think is a great comparison is the Gold Polar AZURE Dragon, as they're both long pull tactiles with very similar material composition. But the AZURE Dragons are made by Gateron, while the Voyagers are made by JWK. I have to say that in my opinion, the Voyager blows the AZURE Dragon out of the water. The upstroke on the AZURE Dragon sounds a lot more plasticky, and the Voyager has a sharper tactility. Now, every Switch that I included in the comparison is a great choice, and I don't really think you can go wrong with any of them. However, if you're looking for a higher pitched long pull tactile, then the Voyager is a clear winner. Here's a sound test after I lube the Switches with my new Chosfox lube station. This thing is a work of art and it's only $35. Now, I'm not affiliated with Chosfox, but products like these have made me a loyal fanboy. For the lube, I used Tribosis 3203 over the factory lube, which was the usual light oil on the stem sliders. I also filmed with JWK Studios films because I ran out of desk keys. Here's the modded typing test. Before I talk about the modded typing test, I need to bring up the elephant in the room, the TX stabs. They freaking suck. Maybe I'm doing something wrong, but they have the loosest tolerances I've ever seen and I just do not understand the hype. I bought them because the Polaris uses a non-standard 1.2mm PCB, and so I thought the 1.2mm TX stabs would be better than using stabilizer shims for my stabies. But I'm going to be throwing all my TX stabs in the trash. Stabies are superior. Although I also have to admit my Shoko spacebar isn't exactly the straightest. Thanks GMK. That being said, I really enjoyed the sound profile of the Voyagers after lubing and filming. They were very tight sounding to begin with very little transients, but I feel like the lube and filmed helped to make these Switches sound just a tiny bit more refined. Overall, I have to say, these Switches are really good, especially considering I came into this review not really expecting too much because I've been a little underwhelmed by JWK tactiles in the past. They come in a 35 pack for $24.49, which works out to just under 70 cents per Switch. That does put it on the slightly pricier end of the mid-range Switch spectrum, although you do get a discount code for 5% off when you join the Chosfox Discord. Overall, I'd say these are the clackiest tactile that I've tried, so if that's the sound signature you're looking for in your endgame build, I think these are a great option. Well, that's going to be it for me today, guys. If you enjoyed this video, make sure you give it a like, and if you didn't like it, try watching it again with subtitles on. I love you, I'm MakerMods, and I'll catch you in the next video.